Okay, we're going over questions from the GED. This is in the basic math category. We're looking at the answers first. Now, if you look at the answers, you see what you get to crawl inside their mind a little bit. They're saying either the answer is negative or positive, and it's either 86.625 or it's 5,544. So that is the most common way that GED math questions are written, where there's two variables and you try to figure out there's two things they're really asking. It's either 86 and some change or it's 5,500, whatever, 5,500. Those are massively different numbers. And they're either positive or negative. So now that we looked at that, and again, you don't really do that on the math test, just stare at the problems first, but I just wanted to show you one of these is right. And if it's 86, let's say the answer is, I don't know what the answer is. Let's say the answer is negative 86. That means this is close to being right, but it's only one thing different. It's positive instead of negative. It would definitely not be that, but we get to see how GED works, that they're going to give you a right answer and another answer choice that's close but wrong, the distractor. And we got to know the distractor is going to be there. So here's the question: which of these following is equivalent to negative 693 times negative 8? Well, they took a big number and they're multiplying it with a smaller number. And look at our choices. If you divide, they're really testing, do we know that that little dot, it means multiply? If we do, if you have a calculator, and this would probably be a no calculator question. This would probably be one of the 5 where we can't use a calculator. But as a negative number times a negative number, that's one skill they're asking. It's a big number times a little number where we're going to do it by hand. That's another skill they're asking. They're asking us if they recognize that the operation we're supposed to do is multiplying. That's another question they're asking. Because I bet you anything, if you divided this, it's that. One of those two. That's the number. So GED is great at this stuff. They're pros. So let's cover a couple things. Whenever we're multiplying numbers, when it comes to positive and negatives, I want to think of an elevator. And that elevator gets stuck. And it's your job as the fire personnel or whatever to go rescue them. Now there's a couple different versions. There's 2 people stuck in the elevator. If there's a positive, cheerful person and another positive, cheerful person, and they're stuck in the elevator, everything's going to be fine. They'll talk to each other about their nephews and nieces, and they'll, talk about cute cat posters and all the things that, wasn't it a lovely day? Yeah, we needed the rain. Those people. If it's 2 negative people, they're going to get along just fine. Because it's going to be like, hey, this kind of stinks. This is the kind of day I have. I'm such an unlucky person. Me too. And they'll trade bad stories and all that stuff. And you can go save them and everything will be fine. That's not going to be fine. One cheerful person and one negative person. Because the negative person is going to try to change this person and go, why are you so cheerful? We're stuck in an elevator and I'm feeling claustrophobic. And the other one's going to go, oh, it's just an adventure. And then at some point, something terrible is going to happen. And you're going to have to call an ambulance. That's how we look at this stuff. Like signs. If it's negative number times a negative number, that's going to work out positive and just fine. If it's positive number times positive number, that will be just fine. But if you get elevator people and they are positive stuck with negative, that's going to be a bad result. And even if it's the other way around, doesn't matter. That's going to be bad news. This is negative times negative, which means it has to be one of these two. And when we get to know the GED questions and we say, okay, it's got to be a positive response, we just got down to a 50-50, and 50-50s are great because there's generally about 46 questions. And if you got to a 50-50 and then flipped a coin, you would get 23 right. And we're shooting to get 26 or so right. We got to do lock down slightly better than 50-50. Now, if we just looked at this and we knew that's multiply, there's no way it's 86. If we can recognize that that's a decimal, and that's $86.62, some change, and this is 5,000, we barely have to do the math. Do the math, but there's an awful lot to figure out because it's more of a puzzle than a question.